Victor Borges, welcome here at SAIIA. You have joined us as a visiting African fellow. You are formerly the Foreign Minister of Cape Verde. Tell us a little bit about Cape Verde as one of the small island states around the continent and their specific challenges that they face.
Cape Verde is an island state with 9. So you have specific challenge of transportation. You have specific challenge of infrastructure. You have to replicate a lot of strategy. You need to, for instance, one port in each island. And Cape Verde is also a volcanic island. And a volcanic island means that building 1 kilometer of road in Cape Verde is much more expensive than building 5 or 6 kilometers in, let's say, Senegal, Burkina Faso, because you do not have mountains. There is a cost of orography. So the specificity of small island states is an issue, and we need to thank United Nations, because the United Nations create a kind of secretariat to deal with specificities of island states. You have Cape Verde, you have in the Gulf of Guinea, you have São Tomé and Príncipe, you have also Equatorial Guinea. On the Indian Ocean, you have also Comoros, Seychelles, Mauritius, etc., etc. And we need to show this, and most of the time, it's not an easy task, because it doesn't fit to the mindset, it doesn't fit to the logic of most programs. Say, Nepal, highways. You cannot link Cape Verde to railway. Railroad, you cannot do this with Cape Verde. Energy, you cannot build dams to have it, to take energy to Cape Verde. So this kind of specificities must be dealt with, knowing in advance that the costs of insularity are very, very high.
You served as the Foreign Minister for Cape Verde for 4 years, and you participated in a number of discussions on ECOWAS, the African Union, the NEPAD, etc. What are the lessons you'd like to share with this generation of African leaders about regional integration?
In this African integration, this is my own view, there is too much mimicking of other experience, namely the European Union experience. I may consider it a successful experience. We can draw lesson, but mimicking is a different kind of stuff. And if we analyze very well the European experience, we should understand that most things that we do, we should do in a different way. And I believe also that states want to integrate or to be integrated need to achieve a few prerequisites, precondition. If not, it's not possible, even if you want. Without peace, without security, without stability, a minimum of democratic governance and shared values, and development also, you cannot integrate. And you can see, for instance, I'm speaking about ECOWAS. The region has to deal with a lot of problems of governance, that the question of peace, security, governance do not allow the organization to give full attention to economic integration as you want to, because you have a lot of these problems. I believe, for me, that the strongest statement in favor of regional integration should be preserving peace, stability, security, doing consistent effort of good governance and development also. Because I think it's a misconception to believe that some problems we are unable to solve at a local, national level, we are going to succeed solving them at regional level.
What do you think about the African Union as it currently stands, and do you have any views of how it can be transformed?
I sincerely believe that we need a different concept and a different pattern of African Union, not an African Union of all African member states, but an African Union of regions, of RECs. Because you cannot duplicate, and we speak about overlapping. And for me, African Union should be a continental mechanism of coordination of RECs instead of repeating the same things that regions, that RECs are trying to do. And we could be more effective transferring a lot of those resources to RECs instead of feeding a huge bureaucracy in Addis Ababa that do not have means to carry on their own projects. And the money that is used to pay the bureaucracy should be used to help solve problems of education, health, transportation, infrastructure, etc., etc.
How is South Africa perceived in West Africa?
There is in West Africa, and I could say Cape Verde, a lot of expectation concerning South Africa since the end of the apartheid. And discussing here with some officials, it was also clear that the South African policy is SADC, and some countries chosen in those different RECs, but there is not a broad approach for African countries. So there is a lot of expectation, but I personally do not feel it near. I consider myself in a process of discovering, of knowing about South Africa. This said, and going back to your question, as during my stay, I participate in lots of conference meetings about IPSA, about BRICS, about G20, etc. I believe those issues are really at the center of South African foreign policy, much more than the Atlantic, for instance. And I observed and listened to a lot of talks about South Africa being member of those organizations. What I didn't catch, what I didn't get, perhaps I overlooked it, is what really South Africa is winning from being part of this organization in terms of development, economic development, in terms of security, in terms of governance. This I was unable to catch. I believe that being part of this organization And if you have a sound strategy and a mechanism of consultation with other African states, South Africa could voice more than South African voice. You could say more about Africa, but I didn't felt it. I really didn't feel it. At the same time, I have problem when Africans go to this international arena. Somehow we transfer our responsibility of development to this organization. So for me, African states, African governments should feel themselves as the first responsible for their development, and if they achieve the development, they would be respected by BRICS, by IPSA, by everyone. So I go back to my idea of development as the main challenge for Africa, even to win international recognition.
South Africa and Cape Verde have been close in the past.
Yes, Cape Verde, because of South African Airways using the airport of SAIIA, this in the past made Cape Verde very near to South Africa. Even at a political level, at the government level, there is still this idea, this goal of reinforcing the relationship with South Africa in terms of air transportation, in terms of tourism, which is the main economic activity of Cape Verde. But perhaps also Cape Verde didn't come out with a sound strategy to outreach South Africa also, because when you say South Africa is far away, I'm not blaming South Africa. Perhaps most African countries didn't have also sound strategy to engage South Africa.
Mr. Borges, thank you very much for joining us, and good luck.